So today I'm going to be showing you two examples of how to find slope. One with using 2 points and one with a graph. The first one, when you have 2 points, the easiest way to do this is to use the formula y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. This is just a formula where we'll be plugging things in. I suggest that you first label your points. So the first point we're going to call x1, comma, y1. So the whole point is point 1. That's why, remember, x always comes first and y always comes second. That's why it's x1 and y1. I'd do the same thing for point number 2, will be x2 and y2. So now that they're labeled, we can see where we're going to be plugging them in directly into our equation. So, to start with, we have y2. y2 is negative 15. The equation says minus. y1 is negative 16. The formula says to divide. x2 is negative 7. The formula says to subtract. x1 is 19. Now that we have it plugged in, we're going to do our math operations. A negative times a negative makes a positive, so really this says negative 15 plus 16 now, divided by the bottom, negative 7 minus 19. Negative 15 plus 16 equals 1. And negative 7 combined with a negative 19 is a bigger negative number. Of 19 plus 7 is 26. And that is our slope. Sometimes we have big fractions like this one. Sometimes they reduce down to simple whole numbers, but in this case that's the fraction. What this really means is that our rate of change is we changed y1 for every time that we changed x, going down 26. Next, here is an example of a graph. I know this graph isn't really drawn very well, so I wanted you to know that there are 2 points on here, 0, 0 and 2, 1. That's what I drew my line through. Again, because I can see on a more pretty graph, you would be able to look at the grid and be able to tell that where those points are. And again, because you have these 2 points, you could go through this whole process here of getting the answer. Or, because it's a graph, you can use the formula rise over run. Rise over run tells me first to look between those 2 points and know, what am I doing up and down? That is my rise. So between my 2 points, if you were to count these little boxes, I'm going from 0 to 1. So my rise is 1. My run is what's happening this direction between the 2 points. So I'm running between 0 and 2 for a total of 2. So my final fraction slope is 1/2. That was a lot faster than using this formula, but you could always check your work that way. You did, especially if you have a very accurate graph. Notice again, this is a fraction. Sometimes you'll have whole numbers. What if you hadn't chosen those 2 dots and you chose 2 other dots on your equation? You would have gotten the same rise over run when you reduce. In other words, you may have gotten 2 4s, 3 6, 4 8s, but they all reduce down to 1/2. And when we look at slope, we always want the reduced fraction. Thank you for listening, and we're going to use this now to help you with some example problems on your own.